Crime Curious is a true crime podcast that takes an in-depth look into real cases through the lens of a trained investigator and former prosecutor turned judge.
If you are sensitive to expletives, anatomical descriptions, and accurate descriptions of crime scenes, this podcast may not be suitable for you.
Welcome to Crime Curious. I'm Charnell.
And I'm Megan.
Hi, Megan. So good to have you back. I missed you last week.
I missed you last week, too.
And Jason will be joining us later in the day, probably for our our bonus recording.
Yes, he's working on his recovery and can only sit through one episode today.
Yes, still recovering.
We're going to baby him.
We are, like the rest of, like he demands,
honestly. As he demands. But that doesn't mean that we still don't need to shake
That's
our
right,
gree-gree,
we do need to shake
shall.
the gree-gree. Good luck to us today. Okay, today's case, Megan.
Yes.
It's potentially linked to the next case that we're going to record for the Patreons, the first bonus for April. But I think it's a stretch. I'm going to tell you about this guy, and then I think that after you hear this case and then the details of the next case, you're going to say, yeah, I don't think that fits his MO. But
it has been linked in the past.
It has. It's been a question mark of could this man have been responsible for a lot of other cases as well. But we're going to talk about the one that really put him on the map and that he actually has a legal conclusion to. Okay. And I want to say thanks to listener Carolina with a K.
I love her name.
It's beautiful, Carolina. For this, she actually recommended the Beaumont children case, which is what we're going to do for this month's first bonus episode. And through that case, I found this case. And so that's why I decided to cover this. But I'm giving her credit for both of these because I wouldn't have known about one without the other. So thanks, Carolina. And thank you for listening and supporting us. So, okay, let's talk about Bevan Spencer von Einem.
Oh, that's a name.
Yep. He was born in 1945 in Adelaide, South Australia. And he grew up in a middle-class household. By all accounts, his childhood looked ordinary for the area of Adelaide. He did fine in school, nothing remarkable, and eventually leaned into academics enough to pursue an accounting career. So he turns out to be an accountant as an adult. He's working in that field, and outwardly, he lived what looked like a normal, stable life. He was working, he was socializing, and blending into the community. And I need to do a little caveat here.
Okay.
At this time, so he was born in 1945, so in the 50s and 60s as he's growing up, and into the 70s as well. In South Australia, it was illegal to engage in any sort of homosexuality.
Okay.
All right. And
doesn't mean they're always enforced, but maybe they were there. It's just their laws that were certainly on the books that stemmed from older time frames.
Absolutely. And that is not to say that I am making an inference about his sexuality, but I'm going to tell you where he got into the spotlight for the first time and just keeping that little nugget about the laws at the time in the back of your mind. Okay.
Well, and I just, as a point of reference, sometimes these antiquated laws are still on the books. Michigan has a number of them, but a friend told me in terms of Louisiana, obviously it was in New Orleans recently, and get this, it is still on the books that oral sex is illegal. And it's not specific as to gender. So just
there is
in
something
general,
that I just really love about that, like
and
knowing you're breaking the law.
Right. And I believe that there was recently, as in within a couple of years or so, if not even sooner, an attempt to have that particular law repealed. But they're so conservative down there, they kept it on. And I'm like, I want to talk to those legislators and be like, listen,
like,
do you mean to tell me that your mouth doesn't ever go south with
Ever,
your wife or vice versa?
Vice versa.
Yeah.
Come
So
on.
every time you commit an act or have an act of oral sex received upon you in Louisiana, you are a law violator, a law breaker.
You know what? I think there's a part of them that wants to keep it in the books.
The excitement.
Because they like knowing that they're breaking the law and not harming anyone in the process,
it's
right?
True. It's true. So again, here we have a law similar in terms of either acts of sodomy or homosexuality in general.
Yep, absolutely. And so this is where Bevan finds himself in the spotlight for the first time, but it's actually for something positive.
Oh.
But also because of the circumstances.
As we just indicated, sometimes it's positive to break the law.
Sometimes it is. But and these circumstances, I think, is what put him under the watchful eye.
Okay.
Because in May 1972, Bevan came to the aid of a gay man who had been thrown into the River Torrens during the murder of a man named George Duncan. Okay?
Interesting.
Yes. And I'll explain a little bit further. A group of police officers were actually suspected of these crimes, but nobody was ever charged or convicted. The area,
so probably a group of police officers.
The area was it was 1972. Yeah. The area was a popular place where gay men would meet covertly. And George Duncan was a British law lecturer who had arrived in Australia only 7 weeks before and died of drowning because he was unable to swim. Now, I think he was trying to help change the laws in Australia surrounding this particular platform and issue, okay? And so a man named Roger James was also thrown into the river, and he suffered a broken leg. But Roger James managed to crawl to the roadside where Bevan Spencer von Einem saw him and rendered assistance by driving him to the hospital. And Roger James recovered from his injuries. But then he was also able to then tell people what happened to George Duncan, how he was thrown into the river, right?
Right.
And accuse a group of police officers of this, okay? And of course, they are in this area that is known for gay men to meet covertly because they couldn't meet in public,
right?
Because it's against the law. And so
which creates more unsafe situations,
sure
just
does.
Like this scenario.
Exactly. And so although something positive happened, he saved Roger James's life. He's now on the radar, right? And so as the years went on, the image of the quiet, respectable accountant began to crack.
Unravel, as it will.
Mm-hmm. Rumors and unsettling stories started circulating around Adelaide, especially involving young men and Bevan von Einem.
Ooh, like he was doing something to them?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Not being helpful.
No. That's the last helpful thing that we're going to hear that comes out of anything connected to Bevan.
Maybe he wasn't trying to be helpful the first time either. It
Perhaps
just
not.
looked that way.
Maybe. People who knew him or crossed paths with him began questioning the nature of his relationships with the young boys and teenagers. His behavior drew more and more suspicion, marking the beginning of the darker reputation that would eventually follow him. So now I'm going to take you to the only victim that he has been convicted of harming, okay? Richard Dallas Kelvin, Kelvin, born December 1st, 1967, was the teenage son of longtime Adelaide news presenter Rob Kelvin of NWS 9 or Channel 9.
So the child of a notorious person.
Yes, yep.
A public figure.
Public figure, news anchor, yep, on Channel 9, yep. June 5th, 1983, Richard was 15 years old and he goes missing.
Oh, no.
On this day, at about 6:15 p.m., Richard was last seen near the corner of Margaret Street and Pepper Tree Lane in North Adelaide, just 200 feet from his home on Ward Street. He had just walked a friend to a bus stop at O'Connell and Marion Streets after the two had spent the afternoon playing football in a nearby park. Richard was expected home for dinner. A security guard living on Margaret Street later reported hearing someone calling for help, car doors slamming, and a vehicle with a loud exhaust speeding away. Richard had been wearing a dog collar.
That was a thing.
It was.
It was a fashion statement.
Heck yeah, it's 1983.
I'm not going to say I didn't have a dog collar.
Yeah, there you go.
It was classy, though.
I'm sure. I actually know that if you were to don a dog collar, it would be classy as hell, Megan.
I could wear one now and make it look appropriate.
I know. I bet you could.
You just wait.
Crime Curious Halloween party. Well, I think we should do this.
Woof.
This dog collar piece is something that investigators really latch onto because they believe that it is the dog collar that may have caught the perpetrator's attention. Okay. So police...
Like a kink of some kind?
Possibly, yes. I mean, this is a 15-year-old, good-looking young man, right?
Okay.
And just wearing this, something that I don't know, and I did try to look up, but I got conflicting information.
I mean, the goth thing was a thing. So if you're talking in the homosexual community or any community, and then a certain number of people who are gothic in terms of their dress, but it also has sexual connotations.
Yes.
In that realm, right? Like the dog collar might mean that he's a submissive and maybe he engages in some role play where he likes to be controlled.
And that is what I was trying to look up, and if that is linked at all with some sort of, like pineapples. Pineapples mean swingers. Is that what it is? Pineapples, right?
Yes,
is it pineapples or lemons?
Known. It's pineapples on cruises. Okay. I saw an article recently. They banned them on like RCI or something, because they don't. That's a virgin kind of thing. Cruises that is not allowed on family cruises. And if you put the pineapple upside down, I believe you're indicating that there might be people invited to your room later. Okay. For whatever kind of activities may occur.
Got ya. And so I truly was trying to figure out if in 1983 in this area, if a dog collar was some sort of signpost.
Sure.
Right?
Potentially.
Indicating something. I could not. What I found is exactly what you had just said about the possibility of being submissive and being into some dominatrix type things like that. The usual that you would expect.
Yeah, a little pony play.
Yeah,
things like that.
Yep, nothing further than that. So I don't like we're just like just the usual. Like
look at us talking like this is something that we do all the time.
I know. So I think the difference is we work with the public and we hear so many lovely stories, and we are very
few things that the public does shocks me.
Correct. Me too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're very, very accepting people.
Absolutely.
We've always said we do not stink kinks here.
We do not.
I love this for people as long as it's consensual. And
that's the thing.
Unfortunately, poor Richard, I do not think consented to being shoved in a vehicle. We know that it happened so quick that from the time that his friend was picked up at this bus stop to the time that then the security guard had heard the squealing of the tires and this loud exhaust and someone screaming for help. And then he's never seen again, right?
Okay.
So
yeah, that's not any evidence of consent.
No.
Nothing you've said.
No, police launch a massive search effort, and the case dominated Adelaide media because remember, Richard's father was a well-known media personality. I mean, this kind of reminds me
Guthrie.
Yes.
Yeah, as soon as you said it.
Yes, that's what I kept thinking of when I was writing this.
Where you've targeted a prominent or famous person's child. I mean, this is we hate to always say a tale as old as time, but this goes back to, the Lindbergh baby.
Absolutely.
Hindenburg and
I knew,
Lindbergh.
the
Where
thing
in
is,
the hell is my brain
But
today?
I knew exactly what you were
baby.
trying to say. Yes. I know.
This is water, by the way. I'm drinking water.
Right, me too. So on June 28th, the publication called The Advertiser ran a full-page missing person poster, and though it included a false lead that had been passed to police, by the way, which we don't like it when that stuff happens, the state government did offer a $5,000 reward. 2 days after Richard had vanished, and then they increased it to 15,000 the following week.
That's pretty quick. I
thought
pleased
so too.
that they're moving along quickly on this. It is a 15-year-old. It's not like it was an adult who went missing, so there should be a fast response. And I'm unsure of like how their missing persons reporting went in that time frame in Australia.
Yes, yeah, me
or
too.
Did you say New Zealand?
No, it's Australia.
It's Australia. Yeah.
And I thought the same thing, and figured, of course, because it's a prominent, it's a new, a media personality, but it doesn't matter. It's still a 15-year-old kid, and I think that's exactly what needed to happen. But
so we have a quick response,
Yep.
quick turnaround time.
Yes,
They're actively searching for
They
this
are.
child.
tips pour in, but none of them lead to Richard. And then 7 weeks after his disappearance.
Okay, so stopping you right there. We
Mhm.
know if you don't find him within the first 48 hours, it's
Right.
why there's a TV show that says it, comes from that terminology. Your chances of finding the missing alive just dramatically decrease.
Yes, yep. And it actually wasn't any sort of tip or anything like that leads to him. This is one of those cases where we just feel really, really bad for the innocent bystander, because 7 weeks after his disappearance on July 24th, 1983, a geologist out looking for moss rocks with his family,
No, I don't like it.
I know, discovered Richard's body beside a dirt airstrip near One Tree Hill in the Adelaide Hills.
Okay. I hate everything about what you just said because it's like a worst fear unlocked situation.
Yes.
I'm happy that they found the body of this young man, the victim, for closure, but this could happen to you or me.
Yes.
This is what's going to happen to me hiking. I know it.
That's always my fear when I am out anywhere slightly secluded,
Yeah.
which in our area,
I'm going to find a body, and I don't know
yeah.
how I'm going to react, because even though I've seen hundreds of dead bodies in my career, finding one in nature with your family on your own is always a whole different thing. And the trauma.
Yes,
I'm thinking of the witness that found them. I'm thinking of the family knowing where he was found. And then you immediately go to what type of violence did that victim suffer being found where he was?
Yes.
Is it the crime scene? Was he moved? There's my brain.
This is not the crime scene. And his body was intentionally left out in the open, and it was intentionally postured. He was still dressed in his Channel 9 shirt that he was kidnapped in.
Yeah.
His blue jeans and his white Adidas sneakers that he'd been wearing the day that he was taken, along with the dog collar around his neck.
Okay, so you said something at the beginning here. When I hear that a body is not only just dumped, but placed intentionally and postured, instantly go to serial killer. Instantly go to something psychologically in the murderer that causes them to want to pose or play with or stage the deceased.
Yep. I will tell you right now, his body had been washed, redressed, and placed in a fetal position. So his knees were pulled to his chest, his head bent forward, his arms were wrapped around his legs. And police believed the positioning suggested a single offender who likely dumped the body after dark.
Are you going to get there of
We will.
Sexual assault?
Yes. And I'm going to do a really big trigger alert, because it's gruesome.
So my mind in terms of profiling right now is going to, if not an already established serial killer, somebody who's certainly starting off in their career, who needs to assert power and asserting a major assertion of power and control by the posing and posturing, likes to be in a position of power, most likely because they were either heavily abused or sexually assaulted where they were younger, so they need to show power over someone smaller, younger, or less strong in some way, shape, or form than them, possibly even cognitively.
And I agree with you on all of that, which is why because I already told you that Bevan von Einem ends up on the hook for this.
Okay.
And there were times, and I'm not saying that he didn't do this, okay?
But it doesn't fit?
I don't know. I'm not entirely sure that I'm 100% convinced of it, but there could be pieces of evidence that I was not able to capture, right, in my research. So admittedly so for that, but the reason why I'm curious about it, in terms of do we really have the right guy, is for all the things that you just listed, because I've already told you about his childhood, right? And his childhood does not fit the typical for serial killer at all. And there's always anomalies.
I thought maybe you were just withholding. I thought maybe you had given me his childhood and then you were going to come out with later that they found out that, he'd been molested by his uncle when he was 8 or something like that.
Right. No. And so that is why there are some pieces to Bevan von Einem that do not, to me, match with this. But he doesn't do himself any favors, and it is suspicious. I just think that there's more than just Bevan involved, and I think that Bevan ends up taking the big hammer here, and I don't know that I don't think he acted alone is what I'm saying. For exactly what Megan just pointed out, all of this, the posturing, this is serial killer behavior, the washing. Yeah. The careful washing and redressing.
I mean, some of the washing could just do with destruction of evidence and trying to clear stuff, but not that precise. And typically, they're also not afraid to cause harm to the body and do some other way. If you really didn't want to get caught, if you didn't really want that body found or to have there be evidence, you're going to burn it. You're going to just cut it up. You're going to dispose in some way, shape, or form. Not to be vulgar and crass about it, but that's just true. They took the time to wash this body, redress it lovingly even, and then stage it in a
vulnerable position.
Yeah, with his arms wrapped around his legs.
The literal fetal position.
Where he would be found.
Yep.
This is psychologically really interesting.
Yes, I agree. The autopsy showed that Richard had actually been held captive for weeks. He'd been drugged, sexually assaulted, and tortured. Forensic timing placed Richard's death between the 8th and 11th of July. Now, remember, he went missing on the 5th of June.
Oh, that means he didn't die for... Well, we know he was alive when he was taken.
He was, yep. And they believe, and we'll get to it, but because of the insect evidence, his body was dumped no later than July 11th.
Okay, and I believe that. Insect evidence is really good. Entomologists testify fantastic. Never going to give you an exact, but they give you a really great date range.
Yeah, yes.
That's pretty consistent.
And for this, we needed it, considering there had been 7 weeks had lapsed since he had went missing.
You do have decomp that you can take into consideration insect activity. Now, is it
But this is
possible?
July. Of course, it's July in Australia, which is actually their winter.
Right.
It's summer for us here.
Now, he would have, in order to have extended the insect time, he would have had to have been like, and again, it's hard to be crass, but like frozen or something.
Yeah, which he was not. No.
Right, and no evidence of that. So insect activity actually would have started before he was dumped. That starts immediately. You don't even know all the creepy crawlies that live around you in nature, that as soon as you die, you begin to decompose, and those decomposers start taking over your body. You can start finding evidence of those.
Yep. Yes, no. So we know, I mean, his death was absolutely between July 8th and 11th.
But you're solidifying that he was alive for a few days, and now I'm wondering what happened to him. And
not a few days, honey. Weeks.
Right.
He was held captive for weeks. He went missing June 5th.
I'm thinking
he was found July. His forensic timing placed his death between July 8th and 11th.
So he was kept alive.
Being dumped no later than the 11th.
Okay. I'm waiting now for all the evidence of torture and sexual abuse.
And he was found July 24th.
Okay.
So that is what the insect evidence told us. Okay. Yep, it's okay. And trigger alert, because I'm going to tell you what the cause of death was, and it's gruesome. The autopsy showed that he had died, and his poor parents, by the way, from massive internal bleeding caused by an anal injury that was inflicted with a blunt object that had a tapered neck, such as a beer bottle. So he was seriously tortured.
Yeah, he was raped and sodomized almost to death.
Yep.
Causing injury that caused death.
Yes. That is truly.
I've gone into protective position.
Right.
Do you ever notice that
yes.
I do that?
I know. I do that when people are telling me things. Yeah. Yes.
That's why I need to make sure nothing's going to crawl through the screen and rip my throat out.
Right. That's why I did the trigger alert, because this was a very, very gruesome death for him. For the massive internal bleeding to be put as his cause of death.
So bad. Poor baby.
Yes. He also had bruising and injuries to his head, the left side of his back, and his right buttocks, along with a fractured front tooth that occurred close to the time of death.
Okay. So he was beaten while he was sodomized, and probably the bruising on the back is from some type of force, sexual activity, perhaps, maybe even blunt force trauma.
But he had been kept alive for weeks. I said that so backwards, and probably because I'm traumatized too, just saying all of this.
Because what's concerning is you can assume, and again, this is an assumption, but just based off the evidence, that he's probably been sexually abused and molested for quite some long time, if there was older bruising and such as well, and then it was that last sodomy incident causing the bleeding that caused him to die. It almost makes you wonder, like, do you think they intended to kill him, or did he die during a sexual abuse incident?
I know. I had actually wondered the same thing, that they just took it too far.
And if that's the case, maybe it does profile us back to this, what's his name again?
Bevan.
To Bevan.
Bevan Spencer von Einem.
If he didn't intend to kill, but instead to kidnap and keep hostage a sexual torture victim.
Yes. And don't get me wrong, there's plenty of evidence against this dude.
Sure.
I just don't think he acted alone.
Okay.
Let me tell you about his toxicology.
Oh, God.
Because it revealed that there was plenty of alcohol and 5 sedative hypnotic drugs in his system.
They were fucking drugging him.
They were. There was Mandrax, Nortec, Amitol, Valium, and Rohypnol.
Oh, he had roofied.
It is
the original roofie.
Yep. But what's interesting is because Mandrax was used, it had been regulated since 1978. Now, this is 1983. So police began checking prescriptions because that's not that many years that it had since come onto the market. And they find a prescription to a B. von Einem.
Oh, Bevan, you're in trouble now, buddy.
Right. This was a name that was already familiar to investigators from earlier suspicious alleged sexual assaults, but also deaths. Because remember, I told you, ever since 1972, when he got into the spotlight for saving that man from the river, he had kind of been in, that was a positive thing, but then his reputation kind of took a dark turn.
Right.
So 4 days after Richard's body was found, police questioned Bevan von Einem. He denied knowing Richard, and he claimed that he had been homesick with the flu on the night of the abduction and off work for a week afterward. Now, isn't that convenient?
That's not an alibi, Bevan.
Right?
That's don't be suspicious.
Don't be suspicious.
Very suspicious,
But no one
Bevan.
saw me at work while I was torturing this boy.
Exactly.
Then a search of his Paradise home, that's where it was located.
Yes.
Where he lived with his mother who was disabled.
Oh, okay.
And it turned up a bottle of Mandrax. So as they expected, because they saw that he had been prescribed it, Bevan admitted that it was his and said he used it to sleep, but he denied having any other drugs. And then the police find the bottle of Nortec hidden behind his wardrobe.
I think that's some type of a narcotic, like an opiate narcotic. It's something that's a Australian thing. Because 2 of the drugs that you named there, I have some Aussie friends, and I know I've heard him utilize one of the terms before, and I was like, I mean, it's kind of like our version of a Percocet, one of those.
Yeah, and it's actually pronounced Nortec.
Nortec. Yeah, that wasn't the one I was referring to. There was another one that you said that's also, like, I believe in the opiate family. Nortec might be similar to like an Ambien, maybe. Like it has the prefix knock in it for nocturnal. So I feel like that's some type of a sleeping pill that they would have got, like a prescription one, obviously, like our Ambiens.
Yes.
But then one of the other drugs you named is 100% an
Amitol.
opiate. Nope. Read them again. Keep going.
And then
Valium, benzo. No, read them again. All of them.
Mandrax.
Yes.
Nortec. Amitol. Valium. And Rohypnol.
I think it's Amitol. I think Amitol's the one that's like a Percocet, like an opiate.
Oh, maybe. Well, the thing is, the Nortec.
So he's mixing opiates, benzos, and sleeping pills.
He is.
I'm surprised he didn't kill the kid from those.
The Nortec was hidden. He had it hidden behind his closet, behind his wardrobe. Okay, but remember,
Bevan, they already know it was prescribed to you.
And also, the Mandrax they were already expecting to find. That's how they found you, Bevan. You know, so for him to say, oh, yeah, I take this. I was prescribed this to help me sleep, but it's the only drug I take. And then they just so happen to find another drug of the 5 that's in Richard's system in your house.
That's unfortunate, Bevan.
And it was hidden.
Yeah.
So then investigators also collected hair, blood, carpet samples, and other materials for forensic testing. Now, it should be noted that Richard's body was found within a mile of one of Bevan's relatives. Not his home, but so this is an area that's familiar to Bevan. There were 3 moments during that first interview that kind of tickled the hair on the back of the police officers' necks, all right?
The proverbial, it feels hinky?
Yes, the hinky.
Yeah.
When officers knocked on his door, Bevan immediately said he wouldn't answer questions without speaking to a lawyer.
Good advice.
Yeah, which it struck the investigators as defensive only because they were knocking door to door.
Yeah.
And so that was a little bit of a red flag.
Oh, I'm not saying when you lawyer up that it's not going to be suspicious.
Right. It's you should, as you should.
I mean, again, it's good advice. But think about it from your perspective. If I had law enforcement come canvassing and knock on my door, I wouldn't lawyer up because I have nothing to hide.
Agreed.
So as soon as someone lawyers up, you are going to continue on I found our guy.
Yes.
I can't do anything about it right now.
No.
But I just found our guy.
I found our guy. Now, I just have to prove it.
Now you're going to go get search warrants.
Yes.
Is what you're going to do.
Yep. When they asked about Richard's murder, he, of course, firmly denies any involvement. And he said that he wouldn't do something like that because it's unethical.
Who said that?
Bevan.
That it's unethical.
Yes, he's just like, oh, I wouldn't do that because it's unethical. And they're like, that's why you wouldn't do it?
Oh, well, I guess we'll move on then.
Yeah, yes. He's like, no, I didn't have anything to do with this kid's murder. That would be unethical. That's weird.
It's a weird thing to say.
Yeah, of all the
thing to say.
Questioning that we've ever done, somebody doesn't say, I wouldn't do that because it's unethical. It's more just like, I would never murder somebody.
Correct. I did not kill this young man.
Right.
Please, feel free.
After admitting that he had the Mandrax, he denied possessing any other drugs until, of course, they find, and they did get a search warrant, the Noctec.
Oops.
At which point he became...
I meant I didn't have any other drugs except for also Noctec.
Right.
I forgot that one.
And at that point when they're like, hey, shaking the bottle, what about these, Bevan?
Yeah.
He's like, he becomes very nervous, and he claimed, I rarely use those drugs, so I forgot about them.
Because I hid them.
I hid them behind my whole ass wardrobe. Like, you know the Lion, the Witch, and the wardrobe? It's a whole ass wardrobe.
He put them in Narnia.
He did.
But they came back.
So then what does he do? Well, he decides, heck, I lawyered up, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go on a holiday.
Well, a vacation, I'm a big vacationer. Sometimes you just got to go at the spur of the moment.
And
timing doesn't always look good, Charnell.
And across all the ponds from us, they do holiday the right way. They get to take months off.
I know. They do 30-day holidays.
They do.
I'm
it's
on
amazing.
my 3-week holiday. I'm like, what the fuck is that? I want one of those.
That's a real holiday. Over here in the United States, you get shit if you take a week off. Okay, 5 business
days.
Feel
guilty. And I'm in charge. I'm boss. I'm elected. I still feel bad if I take more than 7 days off at a time.
I feel like because I'm the boss, I can't take it off. Right? No. So much the same. That is what is problematic with us as Americans.
Yes.
I mean, besides plenty of other things.
But what's problematic for them now is that it's normal to take a 30-day holiday, but his timing isn't great.
It's not, and it's not just 30 days. He goes ahead and just takes the whole month of August and September.
Wow. 60 days then. He had accrued. He had a lot of PTO. He just decided,
you know what, timing might not be best, but I'm just going to do it. I'm going to go to the Soviet Union. I'm going to go to the UK.
Weird places to visit.
That's where he took his holiday.
The UK, because they'll extradite, but I'm a little bit worried about him
he went to the
Russia
Soviet
there.
Union. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it was right after his initial questioning. And while he's gone, the forensic evidence just starts to build.
It does.
Okay, because the fibers that were found on Richard's clothing matched the fibers from Bevan Spencer. That's his middle name. His whole name is Bevan Spencer von Einem.
Well, I'm starting to feel like Bevan's defenses here are unraveling.
Yes, well,
and my profile theory from early as well.
That is why I said I don't think he did it alone, and I don't think the police think he did it alone either.
Okay,
but
that makes me feel a little bit better about my theory.
Your theory.
Otherwise, it's time for me to retire.
Nope, I agree. Not that you should retire.
No, I think it'd be a great idea. I'm all for you advocating that.
Right.
For me.
If you did, we could just go full time on the road with this.
Yes.
With this gig.
On the road. Buying a camper tomorrow, honey.
I know. Seriously, the crime curious camper.
Yeah.
Honk as we go by, guys.
Shenanigans and shitstorm.
Yep. So we're gonna call it the Skanktuary.
Of course. Right.
Now we have to get a camper.
We do.
Anyway, the fibers from Richard's clothing did match the fibers from Bevan's home. Then the hairs also found on Richard match Bevan as well. We know hair follicle evidence, not great, right?
No.
Like that's really not the strongest evidence here, fibers, guys.
We know he was in his house.
Exactly.
That's
and remember
all I need for PC.
Right. And remember the initial questioning. He's like, I had nothing to do with it. I don't know that kid.
That would be unethical.
Right. That would be unethical.
Unethical.
I don't know him. I've never seen him.
His DNA's here, and there's transfer from my stuff here, and I happen to have the medications that were in his system when in toxicology. The probable cause is adding up, at the very least, for them to issue a warrant at this point while he's on holiday.
Exactly. That's what it's like. How do you explain your hairs and your home fibers?
Because he's lawyered up, holiday. So he's not going to talk, and he is on holiday. He cannot be disturbed in Russia.
No, he cannot. And the police are like, hold on. Okay. We know you've got some known associates because we know about your reputation, von Einem. So they get warrants and they actually do raids on properties connected to his known associates.
Okay.
They don't produce much, okay, because I think that Richard was absolutely held at Bevan's house. But investigators track down a man known only as Mr. B because he becomes, I think he flips, and he becomes an informant for the police. Okay. He had previously told the police during the investigation into the 1979, so this is 4 years earlier, murder of Alan Barnes, another teenage boy.
I knew something happened before.
Yes, that Bevan Spencer von Einem was involved with that murder.
Okay.
Barnes' injuries were strikingly similar to Richard's.
Was he sodomized and injured?
Yes.
And some blunt force trauma?
Yes. And he was then washed and redressed. Yeah.
Was he posed?
In post. In a I couldn't find the exact, it just said in a vulnerable position.
Okay.
So I don't know the exact position, but Mr. B described how he, meaning him, and Bevan Spencer von Einem frequently picked up young male hitchhikers, drugged them with alcohol and hypnotics, and then had taken them to Bevan von Eyme's former Camp Belltown home.
Okay.
And abused them overnight before then releasing them. But because they drugged them, they couldn't remember anything.
Mr. B is a star witness here.
He is.
He is essential.
And Mr. B denies participating in any murders, but provided the names of the other associates that they then went and raided. So he's an informant.
Yeah, he's more ethical because he was just involved in the kidnapping and rapes.
Yes. He's just a sexual deviant, not also a murderer.
Also life offenses that he committed, by the way.
Yep, and I'm fairly certain that how he got himself out of those life offenses is by flipping. Yes. Police interviewed several of these known associates, and though most of them offered very little information, with forensic evidence and Mr. B's statements, that placed Richard at Bevan von Eyme's home around the time of his death. So, police arrest and charge Bevan Spencer von Einem with murder on November 3rd, 1983, after he had got home from his holiday. And the thing is, Bevan continues to deny ever meeting Richard.
That's weird.
He doesn't know fully yet about the forensic evidence against him.
We know he was in your house.
Mm-hmm. So,
and also your friend told us about how you guys like to kidnap and molest hitchhiking young boys.
You know, just your little like pastime, what you do.
I honestly feel like, and I'm just going to go all conspiracy theory on it. It's the right time for it, right?
It is.
I think you have a pedo ring here.
Yeah, 100%.
And I'm
yes.
and I think the police probably are on with this, right? Like they know there's other people involved. We have this one informant who's clearly committed life offenses, but who's doing the flip.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that there are other individuals involved, and they are all kidnapping, raping, and torturing young boys.
Yep. I think
some
you
of
hit
whom
it on
are
the
vulnerable
nose.
because they're in the homosexual community, probably unwanted or unfollowed by their families. They're literally out hitchhiking, so clearly they don't have supports, at least in most cases.
Right.
Obviously, we are all familiar with hitchhikers who do it for fun, who come from great homes, but those are few and far between.
For sure. Now, and also, I mean, hitchhiking would have been the norm back in this time period.
Now the norm is just downloading an app and getting into a car with a stranger.
With a stranger, yes. Boy, how times have changed, and yet at the same time, not.
We've regressed in some
Now
ways.
we just do background checks on the people that are picking us. I mean, I assume that I hope so. I don't know. Did those places does Uber and Lyft do background
I don't know. I just
checks?
blindly get in people's cars and let them drive me around strange cities.
And you know what? I think that they do background checks. But here's the thing.
I request a female now. You can do female-friendly Uber pickups, and if you're a single woman traveling, they'll guarantee you that a woman comes and picks you up.
Yep.
I love it.
And also, they the thing is that there's a first crime for everyone who ends up being a criminal, right? So even with the background checks, that's only going to flag anything if they've committed a crime prior to you.
And he's never been caught yet. But I know he committed that first one.
Yes. So he has a committal hearing, and it was on February 20th, 1984. This is when he's faced with the forensic evidence that was proving Richard had been inside his home.
So their committal hearing is basically like a grand jury indictment, or in our case, like an arraignment where charges are getting read and the probable cause statement is being placed on the record.
And wouldn't you know it, all of a sudden, Bevan Spencer von Einem is like, oh, shit. Richard? That Richard? Oh, shit. Yeah. He was in my house. Mm-hmm. Damn. I didn't know we were talking about that Richard. He abruptly changes his story.
Okay.
He now claims suddenly to have a great memory and says that he encountered Richard on O'Connell Street while looking for a parking spot to buy himself some fish and chips.
Oh. Well, that sounds delicious.
It does, but it also sounds suspicious.
It does. Delicious and suspicious. It's the name of my memoir.
Please, God, let it be true.
I'm working on it right now.
Delicious and suspicious.
I don't think that Bevan is helping himself out right now.
By the way, Katie, new scent for the candle line. Delicious.
My smell.
Yes, delicious and suspicious by Megan.
That is not.
So Jason
This is a general audience episode.
Jason just arrived in the studio. He's laying on the couch nursing his surgery in the moment. He's not joining us for this episode.
He's just making comments about the name of some sex tape he thinks exists and that should be my title, but it doesn't. And that's not the title if it was.
Oh, shoot. According to this new version, though, of Bevan von Einem's story, he actually, wouldn't you know it, he nearly hit Richard with his car while he was looking for a parking spot to buy fish and chips. What a meet cute.
Did he take that man home to save him?
That
little 15-year-old boy, not a man.
Yeah. Right. This young man. Mm-hmm. Shit, didn't see you there. I was looking so hard for a parking spot. Almost hit a whole ass 15-year-old. Yeah. And he says, you know what we did? We talked about problems that Richard was having at school.
Oh, like most pedophiles say.
Because, he's wearing the dog collar, right? So he must be having problems at school.
Targeted.
And Richard willingly got into his vehicle.
He might have, but he didn't. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because we've already heard testimony that was not the case.
Right, exactly. Bevan said that they went to his house. They sat on his bed playing with a large gold harp that he kept in his room.
Did you say harp?
I did. How many times does a large gold harp come up in cases? I think this is the first time.
How many times the strange man has tried to show me his harp?
His large gold harp.
Yes.
To be fair, though, police really did see a large gold harp. Dude really does have a harp.
I believe it. Mm-hmm. I do believe it. You got to cover the story. You can't make something that crazy up.
Well, this is how the fibers from his bed ended up on Richard's body, because they sat on his bed and they played the harp. It's not what you think, you guys.
Charnell, I don't mean to harp on this, but he's clearly a pedophile.
Clearly. And then it gets better.
Okay.
He then hugged Richard because the boy was so upset from being bullied at school. He claimed Richard stayed for 2 hours before he dropped him off alive and well and unharmed near the Royal Adelaide Hospital.
Is that because he roofied him and poisoned him?
Yeah, he didn't ever drop him off there.
Right.
And gave him $20 for a taxi. What a guy. What a guy. And it took all the way to this hearing. It took all the way for this hearing for him to remember all those details.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, in his defense, he didn't disclose a lot. He lawyered up and said, I don't know. But where he went
he didn't say, I don't know.
Well, he said he never met him.
He never met him. He's never been in my home. Until they were presented with that evidence. Yep. Yeah. So now he's like, oh, shit. Right.
My favorite thing are criminals who exercise that right. They lawyer up, but they won't shut up. Mm-hmm.
You're doing your lawyer no favors.
Just because you lawyer up, as long as the police aren't continuing to ask you questions and you keep running your suck, that's coming in.
Right.
It's always coming in.
Yeah. This new account directly contradicts his original claim that he had been homesick in bed on June 5th. Remember that? Remember how he was sick for a whole week? Now, this is important when we talk about the trial. He had the man flu. Jason, you familiar with the man flu?
Yeah.
Very.
Maybe he had a small hernia surgery and needed to stay home.
It also doesn't match the overwhelming number of fibers that were found on Richard's clothing.
Right.
Far too many for a brief 2-hour visit, you guys.
For him to have been sitting and had some transfer on his jeans.
For 2 hours. Exactly.
Yeah,
for 2 hours.
They're all over him because he was assaulted
and his
violently.
hairs. Yes. So on May 25th, 1984, Magistrate Nick Manos ruled that Bevan Spencer von Einem would stand trial for Richard Kelvin's murder.
Okay.
Excuse me, Kelvin's murder.
So they make it through the preliminary stage. That's the similar job that I do, and then you send it on to the correct judge then so a jury can hear that. And I'm assuming I have to familiarize myself with common law in Australia, but they have juries. I'm just not sure how they work.
They do. It's very similar to us. They have a 12-member jury. And for the murder of Richard Kelvin, excuse me, I keep choking on that. Kelvin is spelled Kelvin.
Sure.
And I don't know why I keep tripping over that word, but
because you want to say Kevin when you see
I do real bad, but there's an L in it.
Because when we see Kelvin in the U.S., it's CAL, typically, not KEL.
So it was October 15th, 1984, when the murder trial started in the Supreme Court of South Australia with Mr. Justice White presiding. A jury of 12, 7 women and 5 men, were selected and approved by both sides. So, Bevan Spencer von Einem entered a plea of not guilty. His defense team was led by barrister Barry Jennings and assisted by Helena Jansky.
Barry and Helena had their work cut out for them.
Oh, they sure did. And they represented him since the earliest stages of the investigation. The prosecution was headed by Brian Martin, QC, later Chief Justice of the Northern Territory, by the way.
So he had a successful career.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're elected. I think they're appointed to their justice positions. But that still means he was a successful human.
Well, and then Paul, the assistant, was Paul Rofe, R-O-F-E, and he would later go on to be the Director of Public Prosecutions.
Okay.
So obviously, for the prosecution, this is pretty straightforward. We need to prove that Bevan, likely with the help of others, they do believe, murdered Kelvin. Right?
I don't think that they have to show that others were involved. I think they suspect it.
They most definitely do, based on.
And you have to make the evidence
remember Mr. B and all of his associates.
But when his testimony and everything comes in with those, The jury has to like him. He has to be believable. They have to believe that he's not just trying to get himself out of trouble. And those are all things that you would disclose to a jury, right? The defense is going to. What are you getting out of this? You're getting a plea agreement. You're involved. This could be a case where this guy, Mr. B, he's the real killer and he's just set my guy up, right? Like that's the defense that you're potentially going to look for. But I will tell you that based off what you've told me so far, back from my prosecutorial days, I take that one to the box all day long. Like that's a good case to prosecute. I want to prosecute that case.
Yes. Well, in the defense, they have to find a way to make his story sound plausible and convince the jury that he couldn't have held Richard captive for 5 weeks or committed the murder.
Right.
Well, the prosecution opens by taking the jury to key locations around Adelaide connected to the case.
That's an interesting strategy.
That's what they did. Over the first week, they called a series of witnesses, including Richard's parents, his girlfriend, and his best friend, testified that he was a typical 15-year-old who would never willingly get into a stranger's car, had no bisexual or homosexual tendencies.
He was a little goth. He liked his dog collar.
Exactly. And he had worn a dog collar, sometimes just as a joke.
Okay.
So
I can appreciate that.
Yes,
Have you seen Jason's shirts?
What they're trying to get, well, I see the one he's wearing now.
Yes.
But they're trying to establish here that we believe that, this dog collar that he was wearing was not a signpost or an invitation, meaning something else, right? It was just something that he wore being funny. So neighbors near Richard Kelvin's home described hearing noises and commotion around 6 p.m. on June 5th, consistent with the abduction theory, right? Forensic pathologists testified about his head injuries, the severe anal trauma, and the likely cause of death. Pharmacists presented records showing that between December 1978 and August 1983, Bevan Spencer von Einem had been prescribed 5,872 tablets and capsules across 6 different hypnotic drug brands.
That's a lot of good sleep he was getting.
Or a lot of teenagers he was drugging.
Probably more likely.
Often obtaining prescriptions from 3 different chemists on the same day or within the same week.
How many children out there have been part of this pedophilic sex ring where they've been tortured and raped, who they didn't kill, who are just out there as victims,
right?
Who may not have enough memory or recollection because the amount of opiates, benzos, and sleeping pills and roofies that they were being given.
Exactly. They just know that they woke up with injuries to their body.
Correct.
Police officers.
This is why victims don't report.
Yes.
This is why women don't report.
Yes. Police officers involved in the investigation described their interactions with von Einem, including their visit to his home, where one officer noted that his bedroom appeared to have been extensively cleaned. Not just cleaned, extensively.
You have to be careful when a man's home looks too clean.
Right. Oh, 100%.
Pay attention to the smell of bleach, ammonia.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's how I'm going to know when Jason's got a secret to hide.
Me too. His home will be exceptionally clean.
Yep. And it's just out. He just said from lying on the couch, either that or I'm trying to get laid.
Nothing says aphrodisiac like a house that smells like bleach. I've been there, actually. I've walked in my house and gone, oh, yeah,
listen,
this is good.
I'm not going to lie, you guys. That actually happened to me last week. I went away for one night for a conference, came back the next night.
To a clean house?
I could smell the lemon pine sol and was like,
oh yeah. Okay.
It works.
I'm just saying, though, in this case, not so much.
No.
Not so much.
Forensic scientists then detailed their findings on Richard Kelvin's time of death and when his body was dumped in the Adelaide Hills. A leading entomologist testified that based on the fly larvae found on Richard Kelvin's body compared to the larvae on a nearby dead dog, so he took him through the whole science of it.
Yeah.
That Richard had been dumped beside the Kersbrook airstrip on July 10th on or about 1983. Additional forensic experts testified about the hair and fiber evidence. Hair from von Einem were found on and inside Richard's clothing. And of the 925 fibers recovered, 250 of them came from Bevan Spencer von Einem's home environment.
This is very damning
It
evidence
is.
for the defense.
Only 7 fibers came from Richard Kelvin's own home. Scientists explained that
Because he'd spent more
time
in
at that
Bevan's
point in time, in the
home
last
his
weeks. Exactly. Yep. Scientists explain that if Bevan von Einem's story were true, almost none of those fibers should have still been present 36 hours later, let alone 5 weeks and 36 hours
he
later.
Means to tell us that this child, he let him go. He gave him a taxi, and then he got kidnapped later. But he happened to be in the same clothes, and it was at the same time. And coincidences,
And he'd have 250 fibers from his home that he was only in for 2 hours, and only 7 from his home.
And no transfer or additional fibers from whoever actually killed him.
Right, exactly.
Whether it was the car or whatever. If this is a Saudi defense, that some other dude done it, there's no evidence that he was anywhere other than his home, briefly, with the 7 fibers, and the other 100 or however
250
from Brevins.
Yep.
Not a good defense.
Yep. So the defense attempts to counter this, and you guys, they've got to try something.
I agree. I never mean anything bad when they come up with something. You got to come up with something.
That's their job.
You can't be ineffective.
Right.
You have to be good counsel.
So they countered this by suggesting that after Bevan von Einem's supposed brief 2-hour contact with Richard Kelvin, other unknown offenders abducted him, stored his clothing for 5 weeks, then murdered him and redressed him. While the forensic experts acknowledged that this was technically possible, they also testified that it was highly unlikely based on how fibers and hair transfer happens and how it degrades over time. Okay? So after that, the prosecution rested.
Okay.
Because they were like, hey,
we got enough.
We get what you're trying to say, but let's call our forensic experts to counter this, right? And they do, and they said, this is highly unlikely because these should have degraded over time instead of continued to accumulate, right? Over time. Like these were not fibers that were 7 whatever weeks old, right? They were very hardy fibers. So the defense chose to have von Einem give an unsworn statement from the dock rather than a sworn testimony.
Okay.
He repeated his claim that he picked Richard Kelvin up in North Adelaide on June 5th, took him home briefly, and later dropped him in the Adelaide CBD, the hospital-like area. He said he was sick with the flu for the following week and didn't return to work until the 14th of June. He was vague about his activities after the 14th of June, but he did specify his whereabouts on July 10th, the day that the experts testified, scientists.
Right.
What am I trying to say? I'm sorry, guys. When the scientists testified that, hey, based on the fly larvae and whatnot, July 10th was the day. He was saying, hey, on that day, the day his body was dumped, I spent most of the evening at a relative's birthday party with my mom. And I dropped a friend off afterwards, and I went straight to bed before going to work the next morning. And he also addressed the noisy exhaust that was heard during the abduction, insisting that the exhaust on his Ford Falcon, which he sold on July 16th, 1983, to fund his overseas holiday. So after he'd already been...
60-day holiday.
Yeah, his 60-day holiday after he'd already been questioned by police about this murder. He sold his vehicle, and then he took a 2-month vacation. But
he came back.
This Ford Falcon was less than 2 years old, and it was in good condition. So he ended his statement.
I'd sell a car for a good vacation, Charnell.
Sure.
You know I would.
I know you would.
It's an act of love for me. My love language. Acts of vacation.
Right. That's true. Mine too. He ended his statement by again declaring his innocence. So the defense then called witnesses to support his versions of events, of course.
They don't get to the prosecution doesn't get to cross-examine that bullshit statement that he made?
So it was entered, it sounded to me like it was an unsworn statement that was read from the doc rather than a testimony. He didn't actually testify.
Yeah, that's not coming in.
They just read this
That's not
statement.
Coming in. Again, interesting differences here where it could come in if it came in through a witness as a statement against party interest or by a party opponent, he something incriminating that he said, statements that he made, it could come in that way. But the defense is presenting this as his defense. You don't get to do that, do an unsworn statement, because in the USA, you must be under oath and all your statements must be sworn. And that way the prosecutor has every right to cross-examine the things you said.
Yep. No,
so I don't.
That's not how they did it there.
I'm just pointing it out.
Right, I like
or
that.
wrong, different types of law, even though there's similarities in terms of how their criminal justice system works.
Well, and I really appreciate you pointing that out because I thought that was real freaking weird.
It wouldn't happen here.
It wouldn't. No.
You care to make a statement? You raise your right hand, buddy.
Right. And you swear.
We got some things to talk about right here, and they have to do with you swearing to tell the truth today.
That's right, and nothing but the truth. So help you God. So the defense calls witnesses just, of course, to try to support his version of the events from the statement that they read. So colleagues and friends testified that he had been sick and at home during the first week of Kelvin's captivity. Now, I don't know if that they really were concerned and went to go see him. I mean, they probably were concerned about catching the flu. So all they knew is that, he didn't come to work. He said he had the flu. I
wonder how many other people had little boys hidden in their basements that were trying to get rid of them quickly,
right.
too. I mean, if we have these people all helping each other out.
And they're accountants. Yes. By the way.
Wow.
It
actually.
Oh, boy. And the geologist who discovered.
Super great with the ladies, by the way, the accountants. Have no problem picking up dates.
Yeah. The geologist who discovered Richard's body testified, as did the man who purchased Von Einem's Ford Falcon, describing the car's condition.
Okay.
The relative that was hosting on July 10th at the birthday party said, he and his mom arrived about 5:30. They left about 10:30. There was photographs from the party submitted. I don't dispute any of that.
No.
That's only 5 hours.
Yeah.
He could have dumped his body well after 10:30 p.m. and probably would have.
All of these things can be true.
100%. Von Einem's mother also testified about his activities on the weekend of June 5th when Richard Kelvin was abducted. But under cross-examination, the prosecution highlighted inconsistencies between her sworn testimony and her earlier statements to the police.
Yes, that's called impeachment, and that is allowed in the U.S.
Yep, and it also undermined the defense, and it drew attention to Von Einem's shifting account from June 5th, remember? Because here's the thing. Mama was like, he was home in bed sick all weekend. That's what we're going to say. Then when they're like, shit, he couldn't have been sick at home all weekend if he then has to admit that Richard was in his house. So now, under sworn testimony, Mom's like, he was just in the house for 2 hours. Now, ma'am, you told the police the same thing that your son told the police in the very first time, that he
was
almost
like it was planned.
Yeah, he was homesick in bed. So which is it? Because he couldn't have been homesick in bed this whole time, but then also had him for 2 hours.
Well,
so see how that didn't work out real well?
As the jury instructions go, you must consider with a witness whether they have a special reason to tell the truth or a special reason to lie. And you can believe all, some, or none of everything that a witness testifies to.
Yeah.
And this is a really good example of why the mother of the accused might not be the best witness for you to consider. But the defense had to come up with something. And so this was what they had.
Right. Mama tried. Right. In closing arguments, the prosecution argued that Von Einem's story was riddled with lies and contradictions, and that the evidence proved he, likely with others, murdered Richard Kelvin. They emphasized that Bevan von Einem admitted picking Kelvin up, and that the fibers and hairs placed Richard, in his home near the time of death, and that the drugs linked him specifically to Richard Kelvin during the period between abduction and murder. They also countered the defense's timeline concerns by suggesting that Bevan von Einem could have dumped the body very late on July 10th or in the early hours of July 11th before going to work.
Or Bevan could have had someone else dump him.
Absolutely. The defense argued that the prosecution had not proven beyond reasonable doubt that he was guilty, nor established the exact cause of his death, and therefore the jury must give von Einem the benefit of the doubt. The the forensic, what am I trying to say? The pathology report.
He bled from blunt force trauma in the
internal injuries
from the from the rectum.
Mm-hmm. After 7.5 hours of deliberation, and amid cheers and applause from a packed public gallery, Bevan von Einem was found guilty of the murder of Richard Kelvin and was sentenced to life in prison with a 24-year non-paroled period.
We know this is how it works.
Well, I have more for you on that.
Life means like 25 years.
Yeah, but hold on. You're gonna like this.
Oh, good. I like it when you end with something that I like, given how I know how it works in the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
Like in Canada and the UK, and their life offenses are 25 years, and then they might be considered for parole.
Yeah, you're gonna like this.
Thank you.
The Attorney General of South Australia immediately appealed the leniency of the non-parole period. And on March 29th, 1985, the Court of Criminal Appeal in South Australia increased the non-parole period to 36 years.
Okay.
A record at that time in that state. The earliest he could have been released on parole was therefore October 31st, 2007, allowing for the fact that some could be taken off for good behavior should he have any. Then Chief Justice Len King refused to refrain from fixing a non-parole period, but said that the enormity and the depravity of the crime required an increased period in prison. Because, of course, they tried to appeal all of that, and they were like, no, you know what? This was so bad that we're going to keep you here.
Yes.
So
he was up for parole in 2007, and they said, nope.
He was never released. He died in prison in December 2025.
Last
year.
Just months ago.
Yep. At the age of 79, and he took all the secrets to the grave with him. Let me tell you of what he was suspected in the following unsolved cases, largely due to Mr. B's statements to police.
Okay. And if people are interested in these in more detail, they're going to need to tune into the bonus episode, or at least one of these.
No.
These are different than the bonus episode,
These are different than the bonus episode, yes. The unsolved cases include Alan Barnes, which I mentioned earlier, Neil Maurer, Peter Stogneff, and Mark Langley. They were all murdered between 1979 and 1982. The circumstances of these murders were very similar to that of Richard Kelvin's. In subsequent years, investigations into these other murders continued, but the challenges in securing enough evidence to charge Bevan Spencer von Einem, still remained a problem, right? And he was not willing. They asked him many, many times. He did no deathbed confessions.
And there wasn't usable DNA, at least at that point in time, in those cases to link him.
Correct.
In terms of fiber transfers and this wasn't a biological DNA case.
It wasn't. It was not.
Because
these are fibers from his home, from his carpet, from his bed, and his hair.
And the injury, in terms of the rape, the sodomized rape, was an item, an instrument that was used. So we don't have any biological DNA or semen.
Yes, that is correct.
But the MO, like when
you're
the
explaining... MO for those whoops.
Oh, you almost lost your wand.
Gree almost just fell off the table. For these
the posing,
these four men,
posturing,
the washing, the
redressing,
the manner of the internal injuries that they had, and the beating that they took, all very, very similar to that MO.
Yeah, and
that is why the case that I am bringing, the Beaumont children that I am bringing for this month's first bonus case. And if you guys don't know, you can subscribe to our Patreon. We do 5 bonus episodes a month. Yeah. One of them is nothing but a brain bath episode. It's an hour of us just decompressing and doing funny stuff.
If not, you should skip it.
Right. I mean, maybe it's not for everybody.
Right.
But that case, He has been mentioned as a potential suspect.
Okay.
Because that is an unsolved case, the Beaumont children.
All right.
And
if you
he
want,
lived in the area at the time.
they could just purchase one episode too.
Oh, yes.
So if you guys don't want to join, but you just want to
can.
listen to that episode to tie your self together, because these things bother me. Like, I would seek this out now because you just gave me a little hint.
I know.
Want the rest of it.
Yes, I know. And so it's interesting. I think when you hear the details of that, we might be like, okay, child sex ring, yes. Him acting alone, no.
Okay.
Yeah, it is interesting because he did live in the area at the time that the Beaumont children that we're going to talk about next time went missing.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Megan, so I
Yes.
have a confession for you, my friend.
Is this the brain bath?
We need a brain bath.
Oh.
I left my phone. I've got my wand here that I picked up.
Because that's a normal thing for a person to say.
I left my magic wand. I do want to tell you more about this wand that Tasha gifted me.
Tell me about the wand while I'm searching.
She showed me.
Would you like another Felix story, by the way?
I love the Felix stories.
Okay, so you talked to me about the wand, and I'm going to
this.
give you some Felix stories.
So just so you guys know, Tasha's son made me a wand. I can't remember. Did he make this for me, or did she purchase this? Now I can't remember. I have to look at the note.
She purchased it.
Okay.
That one.
Well, look, you put your debit card in this wand, and you do the tap to pay.
I might have forgotten that detail.
Yeah.
You can carry that with you to pay for things.
I sure can.
That's just nuts. So you can, now I think I need one too. That's crazy.
I can tap to pay. Jason's trying to tell me something, and it's like he's trying to talk to me, and I can't hear him.
Well, he is trying to talk to you.
Oh, you did? Oh, he sent me a video of the of the wand tapping. It is what it's for.
This
so
makes sense.
You guys, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to video myself using it for the first time, and I will post it to our social medias so people can see me tapping and paying. And I'm just very excited to do that. Okay.
This is kind of long.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, so this is from Felix about Willow.
Okay.
This is again from Felix Bella Willow. Now, I have to make sure that you guys know, with my cats here that I follow from the UK.
This is just somebody we follow on social media.
Bella's deceased, okay? But she was like the first cat, right? She hasn't been around a while. But this is Felix and Willow, okay?
Oh, they're precious.
And Felix is clearly a big dumb male, right?
Oh, yes.
Adorable.
Yes.
And he wants to talk about...
We know several of those.
And he wants to talk about, and he starts, let's talk about my sister, the ex-barn cat. The problem, the legend. I, too, have been called these things. The problem, the legend.
And the ex-barn cat.
I have never associated myself so much with a cat as I do very specifically with Willow, as I will continue, the tiny spicy dictator that runs half the house like a security guard with anger issues. Now on paper, she is my sister. In reality, she's 90% violence and 10% tolerance. And I get about 0.3% of that tolerance on a good day. All I want is love, a little cuddle, a gentle snuggle, a shared nap, like a normal, emotionally stable household. But what do I get instead? A warning hiss so sharp it could cut glass, followed immediately by the bippity-bap-bap, no hesitation, no discussion, just throwing paws.
Oh, my gosh.
I can literally walk past her, not even looking, just existing handsomely and quietly like a respectful gentleman, and suddenly it's absolutely not. Paws flying, ears back, attitude through the roof for breathing. That's my crime. Breathing near her. And don't even get me started on territory. The teen's room, that is her kingdom, her domain, her empire, her personal no-go zone. I approach the doorway like I'm entering a restricted military area. If she's in there, I turn around immediately. Why? Because I value my life. Because the last time I tried to enter uninvited, it turned into a full contact sport. And yet, despite all of this, I admire her because this is the same woman who taught me how to hunt. I watched her, studied her, and took notes. She is the reason I'm the skilled, elegant predator I am today, even though I lack the correct teeth to finish the job. And let's not forget the magpie incident. 2 of them causing chaos, targeting Mom, targeting me, and who stepped in? Her. Fearless, unbothered, ready for war. Chased them off like it was Tuesday. Absolute icon behavior. So yeah, she may slap the shit out of me, hiss at me, reject every single attempt I make at affection, but occasionally On rare magical moments, I get close. I lean in and attempt a gentle lick on the top of her head. A small act of love, and for one brief second, peace exists. Before I'm reminded immediately that even her fur tastes spicy, and I'm absolutely not welcome here, and I get bapped and hissed at. So I retreat gracefully and with dignity and mild emotional damage. Felix, peace lover, victim, CEO of One Day She Will Cuddle Me. But do not let this can't be the end, because what does every woman need? The last word. Right.
Absolutely. Uh-huh.
Willow.
She's going to respond to this.
Let's have a chat about Felix. Because after yesterday's dramatic little speech he gave, I feel it's only fair I correct the narrative. First of all, just this is me as a cat, you guys.
It absolutely is, yes.
Possibly speaking to Jason.
Yes.
Our Jason.
Our Jason.
First of all, I do not bully him. I manage him.
Yes.
There is a difference.
There is.
Felix is allowed near me within reason, at a distance that I consider appropriate, which I like to call out of sight, out of mind. If I can't see him, he's not a problem and the system works. Now, yes, occasionally he attempts to get closer. He edges in slowly like he's negotiating terms. And sometimes on a rare day, when the sun is right, when my mood is stable, when he hasn't done anything annoying or stupid for 10 minutes, I allow it.
Jason, she is talking to you.
He can sit near me. No touching, though. Let's not get carried away now, but
Right.
nearby. And then I remember who he is and my paws come out, bippity bap. A gentle reminder to reestablish boundaries. He moves, balance is restored. Now let's address his hunting, because he keeps mentioning it. He tries, bless him. But unfortunately, he's working with limited equipment. I mean, who tries to eat a rock anyway and ends up losing a fang or two? So everything he catches stays alive, which means I have to step in like quality control, because we're not running a catch and release program here. We have standards. And yet, despite all of this, he's around, always nearby, following me, watching me, and just existing, like a slightly confused assistant who wasn't trained properly. And I tolerate it, because once upon a time there was Bella, my sister, my equal, my fellow ex-barn cat. She understood things. She understood space and respect, and she liked Felix, which says more about her patience than anything else. And when she left, things got quieter, different.
Aww.
So yes, I suppose I let him stay for company. Don't make a big deal out of it. And yes, sometimes when I'm hungry and the food is late and the world is slightly irritating, he becomes convenient. A quick bap, a release, a lesson. He survives, barely, but he survives. So no, Felix, you're not a victim. You are a tolerated presence, a mildly useful companion, a walking inconvenience, but you are mine. Don't get used to it, because now I have to go vomit up a fur ball for saying that. Oh, and stay out of my teens room.
A walking inconvenience. Can we? I'm so sorry, but that's just what I want to call Jason now. Oh,
that'd be a good candle scent too, Katie.
Walking inconvenience.
Walking inconvenience.
Listen,
So.
we tolerate him very, very well.
Because he's deeply loved.
Because he is.
He's my Felix.
Right. I loved that so much. Thank you. That was great, especially since I almost ruined the show by forgetting to bring my brain bath on my phone.
It's
so
all right.
Thank you. And thank you all so much for taking us along with you wherever you are this week and all the weeks that you do. We really appreciate it. Feel free to give us a like or whatever you do on these things. I don't know.
Comment.
Something
say some
nice.
Things.
Yeah.
Even if it's not nice, it still fixes our algorithm. Say whatever you want.
I'm the one that has to read those.
She does, and she gets
PR.
so upset. I know.
No, I don't.
Someone
It's
doesn't like the
fine.
way Megan says daddy. That sounds like a you problem.
It
not
is.
a me problem,
It is.
listener.
Well, it's just that most of the time
Therapy.
people don't like
I
the way that
suggest
I
therapy.
say anything. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry for who I am as a
The
person.
words,
Just
all the words.
listen to someone else then. But
English
anyway.
English is hard. We don't
It
follow
is. We don't.
grammatical
Any of the rules. There are
Right.
no rules here. Yes. But truly, thank you all very much. We really do appreciate it. And if you'd like to join our Patreon, you are welcome to. There's a link in the show notes, or just search us Crime Curious Podcast Patreon. It'll come up somewhere on the Google machine.
You'll get it.
Yeah.
The
but-
Google button.
Yeah, somewhere. Something. Some AI's got us somewhere. But anyway, until next week, we do hope that you keep it curious.
And keep listening.
Until next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
days of tears in a different kind of grind, helping little ones leaving our old selves behind. Charnell, Jason, Megan, a trio strong and true, but the system wore us out, needed something fresh and new. So we flipped the script, found the mic and the beat. From deep investigations to stories bittersweet. Prosecutor, the judge, that's Megan on the mic. Charnell digs the dirt, makes sure the facts are right. Crime Curious, yeah, that's the name we claim. Shaking our Greek grief, fanning the curious flame. From global listeners to the brain bag we provide. Keep it curious, keep listening with nowhere to hide. Jason's got the wisdom and the jokes to make us smile. Keeps the energy flowing for every single mile. We dive into the dark where the mysteries reside, unraveling the truth with nowhere left to hide. Laws and evidence, Megan lays it down with grace, while Charnell's deep research sets the compelling pace. Crime Curious, yeah, that's the name we claim. Shaking our Greek grief, fanning the curious flame. From global listeners to the brain bag we provide. Keep it curious, keep listening with nowhere to hide. Some secrets we just keep, but every week we're digging secrets buried deep. For every mind that wonders, for every soul that seeks, we're here to break it down in our Crime Curious Speaks. Crime Curious, yeah, that's the name